But joining us to talk about all this is Alpesh Patel, CEO of Pryfinian Partners. Welcome back.
Thank you very much.
Alpesh, happy Friday.
Thank you, you too.
All right, shall we start with China then?
Yeah.
We've seen those pictures of the new notes, but the story on the front of the South China Morning Post is about credit drying up in China.
Yeah, you know, the reason this is of global importance, and it wouldn't have been 10, 20, 30 years ago, is we better pray the Chinese get this right. What they're saying is that consumer spending has decreased. In order to maintain that demand, the government is increasing their spending. Let's hope they get their maths right on this, because otherwise it's going to impact us in Europe and in North America, the biggest economies in the world, more than it ever would have done so.
Yep.
And the other thing you've got to remember with the Chinese is social unrest is what they're actually trying to manage. It's not the economy so much as ensuring that there isn't social unrest in that vast, diverse country. And that's what they're trying to do with this. But most importantly, I just pray they get the figures right on this.
You say pray because there's a bit of a problem, because we know Beijing has been making attempts over many years now to remodel the economy, right? They want to be less of the world's factory floor and they want to be more consumer-driven. If they want to be consumer-driven, but already, we're starting to see consumers not spend as much, tighten their belts.
I tell you what, I'd rather that they were doing government spending than that they were boosting consumer credit, because we know how that's worked out for us in the West.
Exactly.
And they've got to manage it being a consumer economy for exactly that reason. I think they've learnt the lessons from the West, which is why I think they're shoring up with government spending, because that investment long-term into their infrastructure is very much needed by that country. And also, I just hope that what they don't do is use that capital to keep on shoring up their economy and dumping, because they do use significant amounts of their spending to artificially deflate their currency and therefore make their exports that much cheaper and dump their goods on the West and make it impossible for us to compete on a level playing field. I'd rather they spent their money on investments than they did on manipulating their currency.
Well, right. Well, should we move on to other investments? And
no,
you want
money.
Money. You want the money.
You're forgetting the 100 you want.
Yeah, new 100-euro notes.
But no. So this is meant to make it easy, harder to counterfeit, right?
Yeah, I'm just thinking, you know, China, it's a totalitarian dictatorship with a dodgy human rights record. Who's got the guts to counterfeit?
I know.
You know what I mean?
Sorry,
you're already pretty brave. But yes, it's obviously a critical issue. It's becoming an increasingly modern economy, of course. And as you evolve, these are the kinds of measures you need to take. But like I said, I'd be scared senseless of committing any criminal act in China.
Right.
Go for it.
Yeah, no crimes. No crimes in China. We move on to the Modi visit. Obviously, huge news here. Big deals already signed. I mean, what for you is the key?
I think one of the key aspects, you know, I work with the UK government's UK Trade and Investment arm and something called the Global Entrepreneur Programme, where we bring in entrepreneurs from India. We have never seen more entrepreneurs out of India wanting to set up their global headquarters in the UK. So for all the talk of India and its growth, we've got Indians of global ambition, not just looking at the Indian market, but looking to go global and access the EU from a UK base. And more of them set up here in the UK as their headquarters than any other country in Europe. And I think that hasn't really been drawn out as much as I would have wished it to have been. And that's fantastic news for Britain, because, of course, it's jobs, it's taxation, it's all those positive aspects. So it's money coming over here from India, not just us exporting over there.
Is that straightforward? Are there any barriers or anything during this trip that can be discussed on that front?
Well, actually, what we want to do is get even more of those companies setting up over here. The advantage to us in Britain is the ease of doing business. Now, India is improving in terms of its ease of doing business, but it's so many tiers or steps under the ladder behind Britain that actually for a long time we're going to have that advantage. But it's actually just positive. We've not seen any major hurdles. I mean, both countries are working hand in hand in reducing any of the sort of regulatory problems of investing and trading with both countries. But it's all been moving in the right direction. Every business person I speak to is overwhelmingly positive because of this Prime Minister being so energetic about that.
Well, you say all that, but if you look at the numbers, Britain used to be in the top 10 trading partners with India. It's now 12. Belgium trades more with India than the UK, and the number of Indian students want to study in the UK, despite having 4 of the best institutions in the world in the top 10 here in the UK, that's dropped by half. This number of students, Indian students...
Let's deal with the Belgium statistics.
Yeah, how does Belgium beat you?
Diamonds. diamonds. Antwerp. Okay, so there's a whole bunch of Indians in Antwerp polishing the diamonds which come from India, and they go back. I mean, some of these trade figures, whereas Britain has a diverse base of trade and investment with India. But you're absolutely right. Whilst we've doubled up trade and investment over the last 10 years, we want that to be doubled even more because of those close links. It's extraordinary that it isn't even greater. Now, there's a lot of people working on making it be even greater between the two countries in terms of trade and investment, but the direction is definitely clear. It's increasing year on year on year.
Okay. Let's move on to the story at the front of the Times. Borders in crisis after migrant talks fail. These are these talks in Malta with African countries and the EU leaders. There was nearly $2.2 billion pledged by EU leaders to try and help with this, but it seems that there are some big barriers still.
I tell you what worries me the most. There's a line in that report: Slovenia razor wire with Croatia. Yeah. So much for the EU dream of open borders. And I think that tells you everything, what's happening on the ground, what the reality is. In actual fact, the EU might be able to learn from India a bit, which is a country which has managed to incorporate a vast diversity of religions and cultures with relatively little problem. But Europe is having a huge problem. I wanted to ask the journalist who wrote this, when you're talking about EU and migration, the major problem seems to be from Africa. Is there a single African country which hasn't been colonised by an EU country? It's just basically they're coming home to roost. And that's what's happening. And the EU putting up razor wires, it's got big problems. It's only going to get worse.
Okay, let's because our time is clicking up, ticking, I should say. Apple, Apple playing its role in our cashless, or what's fast becoming cashless society, right?
Yeah, and the banks are not too happy about this because Apple are going to make it easier for us to transfer money and basically bypass the banks. And thank God, how long have the banks been paying their employees and not investing in technology? I was looking at the share price of Citigroup. It's at the same price it was 20 years ago, because every time they earn any money, they give it to the employees. They don't invest in technology. Not just Apple, Facebook, let alone, have you tried converting currency at a bank and the rip-off rates you get? Well, thank God. And right now, forget banking shares. You better put it in technology, because actually investing in technology means you're going to be investing in the future of finance. The banks are just not innovating. They're not innovating, and they're going to get wiped out at this rate, and thank God.
There you go.
On the banks wiped
Sorry,
out.
mates, if you're watching out there.
Good morning.
We're going to wrap it up.
We have to wrap it up there, unfortunately. Alpesh, thanks so much for being back with us again.
Yeah. Hey, did you... no, I know. How long have we got? Oh, we're counting down. Did you pass your driver's test first time?
First time.
Oh, you're a very clever man.
Happy drivers. Thanks very much for watching.
We'll see you soon.
See you
Top
soon.
of the hour.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.